Hey, Cardinals fans, welcome back to the Redbird Rundown, presented by I-70 Sports, your home for all things St. Louis Cardinals. I'm Andy, here with Jonathan and Matt, and we would love if you just take 1 second, just take a second out of your time right here as I'm rambling and giving you time. Go to Spotify and Apple right now. Right now as I'm talking, I'm pulling a Tony Horton and talking through it. Just share it with your friends right now real quick. Thank you. They can be found on Facebook, Blue Sky, Twitter as well, and you can watch this live on, well, not live, on YouTube. I guess we're not dead. We're not dead on YouTube. We're alive. Today,
Recorded on YouTube.
Yeah.
recorded to YouTube. Today we're going to be a small maybe preview. We had when the day of recording we had game one last night, so this is Saturday. They played Friday night, and then we're going to go into I'm gonna go ahead and vibe check myself. Somewhat depressing performance review
Huh.
of that's my vibe check, boys. Somewhat depressing
Okay.
2025 performance review of the outfield and the catching core, all 72 catchers we had. But before we get to the World Series, I already gave mine. Boys, you go ahead and give me what is your vibe check for this episode for the Cardinals? Probably has something to pertain with the outfield and the catching. Matt, go ahead.
Um, Falling leaves. They're
Yeah.
starting to show up in my yard, and they are maybe falling off the Cardinals franchise tree too. You are right, not to go too far down the path, but this was a much harder exercise for me to do than the infield. I thought this was much less clear because while the players aren't necessarily like in their spring vibrance, somebody's got to play and hit and
Mm.
bat. So yeah, falling leaves is my vibe today.
Is that like Ring of Power that is like the elves are dying? Is that what that's
Oh,
going through?
wow.
Yes.
The Tree of Lindon.
Yeah,
That's right.
just dying. Jonathan, take us out of this dying tree.
No, and I was really liking that. My vibe check is that it's crazy baseball still on TV.
Yeah.
Like football, basketball, everything that's going on in the sports world. And it's like, oh, wait, the World Series is
Hockey.
also.
Jonathan, come on. Hockey
I see, look at that. I didn't even remember hockey, you
was
know?
on. All four
So,
of
I
them
mean,
are on.
think about all those other three major sports are on. It's like, nope, just kidding. The most important week of baseball is still here. So,
And if they extend into Game 7, it is no longer the October Classic. It is the November Classic.
that is
Uh,
wild. If it's November 1st and pitchers and catchers report in February, I mean, it's seriously like a 10-month sport, 9-month
Who
sport.
cares?
It's
It's
pretty
probably
wild.
75 degrees. It doesn't matter.
That's
mm.
true.
We don't have weather anymore, so just I wouldn't worry about it.
So, listener, I was heartbroken because, like Kyle Raleigh, aka Big Dumper, who was emotional in his after game and post game interview, he was literally in tears. I was in tears because I was 9 outs. The Mariners led, and the going into the bottom of the seventh, so that seventh, eighth, and ninth. They were 9 outs away from Andy being correct of calling the World Series of Mariners and Dodgers, and
Yeah.
I was a little heartbroken a bit. I mean, that's all I had to look forward to this postseason. So I'm having a hard time now switching gears into I don't really want the Dodgers to win, although I don't hate Shohei. I'm like trying to like shift gears into I was like, yeah, Mariners, and then they lost like that, and I was like, okay, Blue Jays.
In
Yeah.
response, I think you should slap Canada with some tariffs. That would be the
Yeah.
appropriate thing to do. They've personally come after you, and so you
Yes.
just retaliate against all of them.
Yes.
Yep.
It was pretty wild
Mm.
on that front last night. Bottom of the ninth, Shohei is up to bat, draws a walk, but the Blue Jays fans are filled with like the bravado of like, hey, we're up big on you
11 to
guys.
4. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start chanting "We don't need you" to Shohei. And look,
Mm.
okay, you're feeling like, woo, we're up big. Someone hit a grand slam. You're riding those huge emotions, right?
Yeah.
That's a tough look. Do that, and like if like it goes back to Toronto for Game
Yeah.
7, and it's the bottom of the whatever, it's the top of the ninth, and Shohei's up, and you guys are like in a winning spot, and then you want to chant "We don't need you," but Game 1, "We don't need you" is really wild. Do you guys have any thoughts about that?
I was just gonna say, that's just categorically false.
Right,
Everybody needs Shohei. Let me just say that. One. Two, I wouldn't give him any bulletin board material. The
right.
guy's already insane. I don't think he needs it, but
Do that when it's like games like it's
yeah.
okay, it's the series is over, then chant "We didn't need you," maybe.
Fans are gonna fan. You know,
I
like
know.
they're gonna say what they're gonna say.
And that
But
stems from the
yeah, I
fact
agree.
that the Blue Jays were in the
Hmm.
running to get the Shohei sweepstakes. Listener, if you're not in on that drama, that Matt, you have
Yeah.
anything for the Toronto
Yeah, I
fans up
mean,
there?
obviously, take the greatest baseball player of all time, certainly without doubt. However, let me tell you
Uh,
what we don't need, and just no specific offense to any of our listeners who may be rocking this look. The solo mustache is a thing that is back in force, and it is
Yeah.
a thing that needs to be gone in force. It just needs to be out of there. See you later. I feel like I am watching TV and these athletes. I feel like I have woken up in my decade of when I was born of the 80s, and I don't know what has happened. I'm like, is there Hawaiian shirts? Is there Magnum PI episodes on?
yeah.
What
Are
is
they all
going
cops? You know.
on with this solo mustache thing? That
It's back.
less than Shohei. We need that less. That is what we need less of. Goodbye.
No, I
Yeah.
think that's
I,
the Gen Z thing. Like that's that they all just rocking the stash. I think that's here.
Gen Z needs to crawl back in the womb and cook for a little longer then because
yeah. The lip
not
rug,
my
unless you
thing.
can really grow one, like I feel like you have to
Yeah.
be older. You're like an older guy, and it's like
Hmm.
you're grandfathered into the mustache. It's like it
If
is
you're
what it
like in
is.
your 50s,
Yeah, of course,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah.
But if you're like 22, it's like, come on,
That was a good
come
Taylor Swift
on.
reference. 22.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I would be more okay if Taylor grew a mustache than what we're seeing on these athletes. So stop. Just everyone stop. Get a razor.
Yeah. One thought real quick on the Blue Jays Dodgers
Oh, I
series. It's
thought
not facial
Taylor's
hair
mustache. I
related.
thought,
I will go. I'll go talk about Taylor Swift. This is if you're the Blue Jays, this is the recipe for winning. Not just like hitting a pitch hit grand slam. Obviously, that
Scoring
yes.
11 runs, that's
yeah.
good.
The Dodgers bullpen just like kind
Yeah,
of
they got
collapsing.
there. They got
That's
there.
it. That's the only like. I mean, and Snell wasn't necessarily bad, but Snell has had issues with walking people throughout his entire career. He set that when I was watching the game day, like I just checked and it was bases loaded. Snell just walked a guy to make it bases loaded. I knew the game was about to be over because
Mhm.
that's a horrific position to be in. I don't care who's coming out of the bullpen, and the grand slam was just like they had to do that. If they walked out of that inning scoring 2 runs, the Dodgers have life, but they really did a good job of slamming the door there.
As
But that's the
in,
recipe, right? Is to get to their bullpen and try to do anything against that.
that is the one and only so far pinch hit grand slam in the World Series.
That's crazy. I read that this morning. That is baseball's always doing something new, you know?
That
And
is the first
the
time ever.
Dodgers offense, if they have one facet of their franchise that's kind of like, I don't know, a 99 on MLB The Show or something, it's the
Yeah,
starting rotation. The rest of the team, the offense is good. I mean, otherworldly Otani,
it can
but
be.
it's not like an invincible mashing machine from the offense. And certainly the bullpen is a weakness. And I don't know that their defense is like crazy, insane good. So they really have to ride their start, which may be enough, right? Ride their starting pitcher, like their four aces and
Hmm.
enough power to get there.
I
Maybe
mean, we
that's the
played the
tap
we
out.
played the Blue Jays in the regular season. The Cardinals did back in St.
Mhm.
Louis. And I do remember thinking when we played them that they were clearly on another level. There were a lot
Mm.
of teams that were on another level than us, but they just kept hitting, and that's what they do. Like I read a stat where they have like the most hits per game and the lowest strikeouts per game. They just make a lot of contact. They run the bases well. So I mean, not that it matters that they beat us, but the Dodgers will have their hands full unless their starters can just quell
Yeah,
this.
shut it
I
down.
mean, Yamamoto could come out tonight and throw a two-hitter,
Sure.
and we're not,
They're also
everybody's back
continuing to
down.
get the Vladdy Jr. just comet streaking across the sky. I think he's hitting like 456 in the playoffs, period. So,
Seen
Yeah.
that once before.
yeah.
The Yankee lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say very similar body type too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Well, let's dig into our performance review of the outfield and the catching. So, listener, this will entail Lars Nootbaar, Victor Scott II, Jordan Walker, Alec Burleson, Pedro Pajes, Yoel Pozo, and Ivan Herrera. So, I want to start with probably the only player that there's two in my book. Let's start with Ivan. Let's just start with let's sandwich it with good and bad and back to good. Let's do that approach.
Huh?
So
Oh, is there
Ivan,
another good in this group?
Yeah.
there
Just kidding.
there is
There's one more.
there's one
One more.
more. Yep.
Uh,
So Ivan, he was by far in this group the only player offensively. Okay, there's one that's moderately good. He is clearly good,
oh yeah.
right? Like so listener, his WRC plus was 137, and again, That is a average of 100. So he's about 40% better than the average MLB hitter. I think that says a lot right there. I dug around a little bit. So I considered him more of like a DH than I did a catcher. And I know we're
Really?
saying catcher because, yeah. So I just took real quick the MLB average according to Fangraphs of the MLB, like DH hitters.
Yeah.
So their slashes are 239, 322, 422 with a WRC plus of 108. Avon's obviously is 137 WRC plus, but his
Yeah.
slashes are 284, 373, 464. He is across the board better than the average DH. We have a person who is worth his roster spot.
Oh yeah.
100%. He only got paid that $720,000. There's a lot of guys making that in the Cardinals. It's like that, basically that rookie contract, right? The
Hmm. Hmm.
pre-arbitration. So he posted a positive WAR. He posted a positive base running value rating, according to Fangraphs. So I was happy to see that. We would be getting our money's worth at about $15 million just from this season. That's where I pegged him. But of course, we're not paying him that $15 million. So was he worth his performance review? Was yeah, thanks, buddy. Appreciate that from me. So Jonathan, take it. You want to add anything to that?
I'm gonna say like three sentences. Pillar of the future. He has the highest offensive upside in the team, and I think he has infinitely more value if he can be a catcher. The Cardinals are wanting him to train and practice, get his arm strength up, and get behind the plate. If he can just be a serviceable catcher, Andy, I know you're talking about DH, and if that's the worst case scenario, there are 29 other teams that would kill for a DH that actually hits. I feel like that's a real difficulty for some of these teams is they platoon their DH or they use it as a revolving door, and it's good for positionally, right? You have some flexibility, but if we have a DH who can just straight rake, I would take that all day. But I was looking at Will Smith, the Dodgers catcher, who by all accounts is probably the best hitting catcher in the league or one of them. He's just an average defender. He's not that good of a framer, right? He has pass balls. He's not like, jumping off the page defensively. He was an all-star because he hits. If Ivan can try to mirror something like that, where he's just an average defender, but can hit like this, then I mean, this is a legitimate star. The only worry I have, Matt, and I'll turn it over to you in a second, is he going to have injury problems behind the plate? If he's gonna have injury problems, then we either just make him a full-blown DH or he's got to try to learn something else. But if he is a catcher, this is even more value.
Yeah, I looked at his offensive numbers, and I don't know if Ivan is going to be part of the series we're tinkering around with, which is the quote unquote runway guys, and why did they succeed or why did they fail? So I'll try not to go too deep into this, but I really wanted to see how real is this offense, and I know he can hit because I can see it with my eyes. But then I started looking at some of the stats underlying those numbers, and I walked away even more impressed. I
Yeah.
mean, this year his line drive rate went down, his ground ball rate went up. He was running a completely league average normal BABIP, so he's not getting lucky. He's actually hitting more ground balls and fewer line drives and still running a WRC plus of 137. So what I'm saying is I think that there is room for growth. I'm going to mention a name here at DH, and it's going to be insane. I don't know that I think he could be a DH offensively on the lines of Ohtani, but I think he can be barking in the neighborhood of Ohtani with power and contact and obviously he's not
Wow.
going to go throw six innings of 10 strikeout ball, but I
Yeah.
really think I mean, Ivan could run in like the 160s with a WRC plus and be the best hitter this franchise has seen since Pujols.
Yeah.
If everything goes well for you know what I'm saying, he's still
Yeah.
young, still
That's the ceiling.
we got
That's what you
4
meant.
years of the ceiling is really the roof, as Michael Jordan might say. So the two concerns that I have is he's got bad defensive run saved and bad framing as a catcher. I will trust in Heim. I'm kind of worried about this catching thing that they're going to do. Because I don't know if he can do it. And if you go look at his WAR, he was dragged down
Yeah,
horrendously
he
by his
was.
defensive WAR, even though he didn't play that much on defense.
Yeah.
And then secondly, the injury thing is going to be the thing. This guy's bat is so premium that I'm okay with trying the catching thing, but you have got to protect the bat over everything else because it might be the single best talent we have in the entire organization. So you have to defend that, I
Yeah.
think.
100%, because when we go through the rest of this,
Mhm.
the theme until the very end is going to be is he worth enough defensively to be like,
Right.
there's no
Yeah.
real good offensive person after this until we get to the very end, because everyone else is like, well, you need these defensive guys, but you're right, Matt. We have got to have somebody who can hit the ball, or we're just going to be a bunch of like 1-0 defensive
Hmm.
team. Like we won the game 2-0 because the pitching held together and the defense was so good. I mean, we have got to have people that can hit. So let's go to the flip side of Ivan, which is Pedro Pajes. And if there's a way, if there would be a way to like merge
Meld them
them to,
together. Yeah.
yes, they would be the best, one of the best catchers to play,
Is it the
right?
Dragon Ball Z thing I'm doing? You know, when they
Yeah, yeah,
touch.
yeah. Yes. Those have been lighting up my YouTube algorithm for some reason. I don't know
Wow.
why.
A
Uh,
Kamehameha wave on the
Yeah.
podcast.
yeah. So Pedro Pajes, just to give some baseline stats, his WRC plus is 77. So he was 77% worth league average catcher. He had a positive WAR, 1.6. His defensive WAR, to opposite of Ivan's was negative 9.7. Pedro's is 15.9 defensive WAR, but his offense was negative 13.5. And again, I already said the 77 WAR with a negative 2.7 base running value. Yikes.
Yep.
So, gentlemen, there's some of the facts. Is Pedro worth the defensive spot on the roster if you want to consider him our defensive catcher? Matt, let's go with you.
Okay. I'm gonna shock Cardinal Nation here. And after looking at this,
He's going to say
I,
he's worth it.
I'm gonna apologize to Pedro Pie.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm going to. I still don't think he can hit. He
Hey,
could
well,
not
he
hit in the
cannot hit.
minors. Well, let me say this.
Uh,
To close the season last year, after his batting stance change, he showed a marked improvement. And if you guys last time were pushing me so hard on Win as an elite defender and an average hitter, and you have a really good player, guess what? If Pedro Paez can be what he was at the end of the season, which I mean, he was above average hitter at the end of the season. If he's just an average hitter, he's an elite defensive catcher. Okay. So he's 27 years old. We have 5 years left of control on him. Here's a guy, he is never going to be expensive. You know that he can catch a full season because he's done it before. You know he can work with the pitchers. The pitchers seem to like working with him. So I would like to formally apologize to Pedro Paez. Now, let me say this.
wow.
I absolutely do not want him starting every single day. So if you're going to platoon him, defensive replacement in late games, I think that is extremely, extremely good to have on your roster. And so I'm in on the roster as long as he's not the primary catcher.
I'll tell you, I did not expect you to take that turn.
Yeah,
You have had some vitriol towards our friend Pedro for
I have. I
quite
think
some
it's just
time.
offensive frustration, though. Like,
Well,
we were just
when-
carrying too
yeah.
many guys that couldn't hit.
When he comes up in like a crucial spot and you just hear like a fart noise in the distance. You're like, ah, great, right? Yeah.
Like a silent one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't disagree with what you're saying when it comes to the comparison between Mason Wynn. My initial reaction to that is that we don't have anybody else behind Mason Wynn that
Sure.
can do that.
That's
This
true.
is my only thing with Pedro Pajes is I just want to see his at bats go to Jimmy Crooks. See what we have with him. I want to see his at bats eventually go to Bernal or sweet Lord Jesus Raniel Rodriguez at some point whenever that happens. That's my only thing with him. He's a backup.
Yeah.
Let's just treat him like a backup. If he's your backup catcher, like Ivan, if they're going to try this experiment and he catches, I don't know, like 80% of the time, and Pedro's just the backup and he comes in defensively, I honestly have no problems with that. If Jimmy Crooks is the main catcher and they move off this Ivan thing and Pedro is a 20% guy, I honestly have no problems with that. You're
Yep.
right, Matt. The rigors of an MLB season, you have to have two catchers. You have to have two catchers. You have to have a tandem, and he's a fine secondary guy. I just don't want them to, run him out there more than half of the time. We have too many catchers. We have too much of a pipeline for that. But if he is a backup, I mean, I think I've said this before prior. I'm fine with him being a backup. Totally fine. He just cannot be the starter. Yeah,
Can I say this too, real quick? I am extremely skeptical that the Ivan at catcher thing is going to work. I am not sure that the talent is there to do it, and I am extremely worried about the wear and tear on his bat. I mean, I'm telling you, that bat is like special and precious. And so my whole thing about this was, okay, well, I also want to see Crooks. I want to see Crooks a lot
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
But if we, like you said, we got to have two, and I don't think the second is Yvonne. So I'm okay with Pages being in the mix. I never want a replay of what we did with Pages this year, where he was our catcher. That is not
Correct.
what he should be doing.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the injury stuff with Yvonne. I think
Yes.
that he has a chance, even if he's a slightly negative or he's flirting at 500, like flirting at an average defense. I'm
Hmm.
fine with that. I don't need. You can control the run game in other ways.
Yeah.
Pitchers, that a lot of that is on the pitchers as much as it's on the catchers. It is, right? A lot of
Hmm.
people don't think about that, but checking over, delivering to the plate at different times. I just don't want him to get hurt, and he got hurt a lot this year by being behind the plate. If
Mm-hmm.
that happens, I just Pedro, be a backup, dude. Be a backup,
Mhm.
and we'll be fine with you.
Yep.
Andy, what do you think? You were on
uh,
the negative Pages
Yeah.
bandwagon
I
too.
was. I think that that's where it is. I don't think he needs to be shipped off to the Eastern Front. But I think that his role, he has earned, yeah, a backup role. Yeah, I can't add anything else to that. I had a few notes, but Jonathan took them. So I mean, the MLB average WAR for a catcher was 2 to 3. He posted a 1.6. The top catchers are 2.8 to 4.0, with like the top end being Big Dumper, aka Cal Raleigh, 7. So I mean, we're not going to get that out of him. But I think he's a solid defensive guy. So let's move on to the third catching option that the Cardinals have of Pozo's Bozos here. Uh, Yoel Pozo? Am I saying that right?
Yoel.
Joel.
I mean, hey,
Probably
whatever.
not that, but yes.
Okay, all right, not that one. Scratch that. All right. He again that. By the way, Pedro Paz made $760,000, like Pozo does as well.
Yeah,
So
sure.
all these pre-arbitration values here. So he was an is interesting, isn't he? Um,
He is.
Jonathan, why don't I just instead of me
Sure.
offloading all the numbers, why don't I just get your thoughts, because this was an interesting one to me.
I honestly, of all the guys on here, he's one of them that I had like a my verdict was like keep question mark.
Mm,
He's not a catcher. I don't really want him as a catcher. We have to have 26 guys on the roster. I think his value comes as a bench bat, a pinch hitter against lefties. If we can't fill the roster with anybody else, he is a platoon guy. He hit lefties really well. And this dude came in the clutch for us like 6 times this last year. He came in to pinch hit and he made contact or he had a game-winning hit. He did that a lot. I don't think he's a catcher. He's part of the catching core. His WRC plus was 76. His stat line is kind of unimpressive as the year went along. But again, if we need a platoon type of guy, I think he could do it. My only question here is our newly minted prospect, Blaze Jordan from the
mm.
Red Sox. Is he this? Could he be this? And that's where I'm like, keep question mark. Like if we kept Pozo, would I be upset about it? No, but I think he's just like the 26th man. I think he's a bench guy that maybe hits against lefties, and that's what I thought. Oh my gosh, maybe Blaze Jordan is better than this, and he has maybe more defensive upside with being a backup first baseman as opposed to Pozo just like throwing the glove on and going out there.
Matt, anything to add about Mr.
Yeah,
Pozo?
I am. I'm solidly a no on Pozo, and it is not for want of love, because not only do I love him, I cherish and treasure him. But then I went to
Yeah,
Fangraphs,
it's
and
tough.
his picture on Fangraphs is still with the A's,
Yeah,
and he's got Brendan Donovan glorious
he
Confederate
does.
general locks.
He does.
Now, let me say this. I am not giving glory to the Confederacy. I actually oppose that. I think it's bad to rebel against your nation. But the locks are pretty nice.
Glad you added that. That was really
Yeah,
nice.
that's not
Yeah.
where we want to be, right? Here's the thing. He's 28 years old. He had super inconsistent hitting opportunities. So he had some awesome moments at the beginning of the year, and he wasn't quite as good towards the end of the year. Here's where I landed as a no. We have way too many catchers, and the catching prospect train needs to move. And I think, as Jonathan suggested, maybe not even with Blaze Jordan, I just think we have better options for a 26th man. I think Pozo is a really, really cool player for a team of like established veterans that everybody knows their role and everybody's kind of locked in. And then you're just able to add this guy who can hit lefties off the bench. I think
Yeah.
that's really cool. I don't think that's where we're at. I think that we have way too many guys that we don't know for sure. And so we just need to be taking Pozos at bats and just giving them to someone else. So it's not for, I love him. I treasure him. He's just one of those like random fun Cardinals. That's awesome. I just don't think there's room because of where we're at.
I think we don't have room as well. That's where I landed, is that there's other people that could probably do this job, is what I ultimately landed on, because that stat line is not great. I'm sure there's more nuances in that they're looking at, but I agree with you guys. I don't think that I agree more with Matt. I don't think there's
Yeah.
a room at all. Like there's somebody else that can probably come in and do this too and see what's happening in the minor leagues. All right, let's get out of the behind the plate and go out into the outfield and stretch our legs a little bit. Let's start with Matt's probably hardest one to look at here. Let's start
Nope.
with Lars Nootbaar. That was the hardest one to look at for you
Nope.
in the
Absolutely
outfield?
not. Absolutely not.
Oh, okay, I know who it is then. All right, Matt, why don't you lead off with the Lars Nootbaar fan club? Why don't you go ahead?
Okay. Let me give you the negatives. Lars had a WRC plus of 96.
He did.
Lars played 135 games. That's pretty good for him.
That's pretty good.
He's 28 years old. He had a
Mhm.
.8 WAR. He's got 3 arbitration years left. He's going to start getting expensive.
Yes.
Okay, all those are kind of negatives. He's an average defender at best, maybe just slightly above average in the corners. It's not wonderful. Okay. And I was like, oh no, Newt, my boy, I'm just gonna have to go with a no with you. And then I started looking. His hard rate hit percentage is insanely high. His exit velocity is insanely high. Let me tell you what happened to Lars Nootbaar last year. He started pounding the ball into the ground. And if he can fix the ground ball issue, his ground ball percentage spiked. If he can fix that, guys, he is still knocking the crap out of the ball. And so here's what I'm going to say. For next year, I'm not saying an extension. I'm not saying he's playing with us for the next 5 years. I'm saying for the next year, Lars Nootbaar is 100% on this team because there is no one else to be able to do this. I may just die thinking Lars Nootbaar is like a closet all-star or something. I still think the offensive profile is there. And some of those injury concerns like quieted a little bit. He had the weird rib stuff, and that may speak to some of his offensive struggles last year. And again, maybe he's just going to have these nagging things. I just think for 2026, Lars Nootbaar is on the team. And I still honestly feel pretty good about plugging him in the lineup. Am I insane? Am I just like blinded by the Newt?
Blinded by the dude. I read that in my mind, like the Weekend song.
Yeah.
No, you're not crazy, because I have that written down exactly. Keep another year.
Okay.
There is nobody behind him that I feel like super confident in, and his underlying metrics are ridiculous. A hard hit rate of 50%. Think about that, guys. That's Statcast over 95 miles an hour. He's hitting the ball over 95 miles an hour half of the time. We already know his walk rate, and I just had to add this. He will benefit from automatic balls and strikes more than most people. He better have the green light to be tapping the helmet.
Yes.
He has a great eye for the strike zone. The max exit velocity this last year was 113. I always like to look at those two things, because he is hitting the ball very hard, and that is typically really good. Now, Jordan Walker also hits the ball very
That's
hard.
what I was about to say.
We'll get there. Here's some interesting things. Matt, you said he's hitting the ball on the ground really hard. The thing that popped out to me was that he has posted the worst run value against fastballs of his entire career last year. Last year, it was minus 0.08. Minus 0.8. I'm sorry. Minus 0.8. That means that when they threw fastballs at him, he didn't really do anything to him. It's interesting because that's kind of a trend across baseball, and especially on the Cardinals. You know who else this happened to? Was Nolan Gorman. Forgot how to hit fastballs. Right? Why is that? I thought, why is that happening? Everybody should be able to hit the ball when it's straight. Across Major League Baseball for the past 10 years, back to 2015, this is the lowest percentage that Major League Baseball that people are throwing fastballs, starters, and the highest percentage of sliders. So we're talking 48% of the time they're throwing fastballs, 22% of the time they're throwing sliders. What does this tell me? I think, one, it's extremely hard to hit in Major League Baseball. Let me just put that out there. Okay. Number two, I think that players are more worried about spin now than ever before in the history of the game. And I think that makes the effectiveness of fastballs even higher. When you have to think about a slurve, a slider, a sweeper, a splitter, all these balls that move, and you're not focused on the fastball. I mean, in 2015, pitchers were throwing fastballs almost 60%. Think about that. You're going to go up there and you could just sit fastball, dead red. I'm just going to sit here and do this. That's why I think Newt had a down year. Coupling that with what you said, Matt, I think that it's just really difficult to hit in the major leagues, and I think batters need to start adjusting for more spin. And I think it's happening now higher than ever before. His underlying metrics are just too good. He is a darling of metrics. The Rays would be like, this guy's our MVP, is this right here. So I agree with you, man. I think you have to keep him another year. I do. And I feel confident in that after doing this exercise.
Same. That's where I landed. I didn't try not to look through it of, boy, what is Matt going to say? But most of the full-time outfielders in the MLB are clustered at a like 1 to 3 WAR range. That's where if you want to call it an average MLB player is, with an average salary in the outfield of $4 to $6 million a year. So Lars came in at a 0.8, so just shy of that 1 to 3 range. He made, again, that QB minimum, the rookie deal minimum. He's asking for just shy of $3 million. The Cardinals offered him to just shy of $2.5 million. I think he's worth that. I also the trends year to year. This one seems like the outlier. If you want to talk stats class, this seemed like it was something weird happened because it didn't follow like a natural trend down, or like it's like, oh, I could kind of see this regression. It was just like strangely odd. And I think it is going to be an outlier. So I would agree that I'm okay. Now, if he has another season like this and we're at 2026 having the same conversation, it's a different conversation. I'm probably having.
I think so
with them.
too.
Yeah.
But as of this year, I think that he is worth a roster spot next year.
Andy,
especially if Joshua Baez goes to Memphis and is really good. Yeah, if that's the case and he's still kind of farting around and Baez tore at Memphis, well, then I will be the first one to say, okay, the nudesance is over,
the nudesance. Andy, did you look up his base running value on his WAR?
Negative 1.5. Yeah.
That's all it was, 1.5?
Negative, yeah. That was it.
Honestly, you could have told me it was 14 and I would have believed it. He had more plays I watched that I was like, what are you doing on the base paths than just about anybody.
Is that coaching, do you think? I mean, how much of that's on the coach and how much of that's on the players?
I mean, that was my knock on Marmol, but I mean, him and Willie stand out the most to me.
Pedro had a worse base running value.
I feel like that's because he's slow. I wish I could do what is the term where you get caught in between? Like, I think Pedro is because he's slow, right? Some of these metrics are like, you're slow, so you're not that great. Newt's like not super slow,
right? Yeah.
So I wonder how that's factored. I wonder how they calculate that. But man, I could have swore that'd be higher.
Jonathan's deep dive into the base running value.
Man, I wish I knew. I agree with you though. I agree with you guys though. Andy, you said outlier, and that's the crazy thing is his counting numbers are down, but every underlying metric is the same or higher. That's one of these where it's like, man, what really happened here?
I didn't think that from the eye test, and I wondered, like, was his strikeout rate going to be way higher? Was his walk rate going to be? None of it is. And so, like, to me, he basically was the same hitter, just with the ground ball issue that spiked.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know. I still think it's in there. So we're talking like maybe like a 120 WRC plus. That's more in the range. Yeah.
That was the correct term. What was his BABIP? Is that like the average? Like, did anybody have
batting average on ball and play? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Does anybody have that at hand?
I do not. I didn't write it down. No.
Okay. I think that's where we need to land with Lars. So this one was tough to look at as our center fielder of Victor Scott II. Because we're getting back into the Pedro Pages dynamic of, is he just the hands team? Because his defensive WAR was 9.2. His offensive WAR was negative 7.6. He had a 76 WRC plus. He had a 5.9 base running value though, was the highest on the team, with an overall 1.7 WAR. So that puts him in that cluster of 1 to 3. Jonathan, is Victor Scott II? Let's give him a performance review. Is he worth a spot?
Yes, he is. Just first off, I think that there's not like an heir apparent out there right now, and I think that's the case for a lot of these outfielders. I mean, we can talk about Nathan Church. We didn't do the exercise with him in mind, but he was in the back of my mind with some of this. I mean, his offensive stats are abysmal. I mean, he had a lower slug than on base. That is, when your slug starts
really
with
bad.
2.
It's really bad.
Yeah, that's like horrific. His hard hit rate was 26%, half of what Newt's was. He just couldn't hit. He was not bad in the beginning of the year.
Right. He was hot.
Pitchers adjusted, and he didn't adjust back. I know you hear that a lot. It's kind of cliche, but I do really believe that. I think his defense is elite. We know this. He just needs time. If he goes another year, year and a half, and he just cannot hit a lick, then maybe other guys force themselves into the conversation.
And he's relegated to the hands team.
And maybe he's the hands team guy, exactly. But I think he's going to need some time to try to figure this out. I mean, 1.7 WAR, and you basically just had like a cardboard cutout standing up there on the plate. That's can you imagine if he learns how to hit?
Right,
you know,
he's 24.
He's going to be really, really valuable. He didn't have like a crazy minor league career, but if he can just be, again, just give me like 100, 95, 97 WRC plus, and you'll never hear me say anything about Vic.
Matt.
Yeah, I also think he is worth the roster spot, but this is the lens I want to put on this. Is he worth a roster spot for a good team? No, he is not. But the Cardinals are not a good team. They're not going to be a good team next year. And this is why we're saying this, because we're like, yeah, Newt. Yeah, Vic, right? There's nobody else. So if we had other options, clearly you would go to other options, but there are no other options. And this team is young. We keep saying he's on the rookie deal. He's on the rookie deal. This is what you get with young teams in Major League Baseball, right? Vic's got 5 years of control left. His base running is outrageously good. His defense, he was one of, period, end of sentence, the best defenders in Major League Baseball. And so this is giving me like big time Kevin Kiermaier vibes for the Rays.
Sure.
That if we had an actual team that could hit around him, you could carry one or maybe two of these guys. It's just that every single guy we go to is like, can't hit. That's why that makes Vic look worse, I think. So I co-sign everything you guys have said.
Yeah.
Strikeout rate down, walk rate up. I don't know. Maybe it clicks for him, right? And clicking for him again is this like 100 WRC plus an insanely good defense. Now, if we have a whole team of those guys, I don't know what that looks like for our ceiling as a team.
Right.
But for 2026, yes, Vic is worth a roster spot. I don't want to hear about Nathan Church. I still think Vic's upside is significantly higher, and we need to ride him.
No, we need to talk about Michael Ciani again. Come on.
Oh, my God, stop.
Get out of here.
Someone who, again, struggled all year was 23-year-old Jordan Walker. And that's what scares me about 23-year-old Jordan Walker is that he's 23. And just looking at this kid on Fangraphs, his year over year, I just think he's not, first of all, for me, he's not worth a roster spot. But he just seems like the prime candidate of he's going to go somewhere and absolutely pop off. Like, he's gotten this weird rut, and like he's going to like some person is gonna like some other coach is gonna get him, and it's just like gonna click for him somewhere else, and then we're gonna look like absolute idiots. But the data supports the fact that if the Cardinals can't look like idiots if we just point to what he produced with us, and if it's a failure of like we couldn't coach him right, but a 66 WRC plus, a negative 1.2 WAR, a negative base running value of 0.4, nope. You just can't because of the year over year. If you look at the years past, it's not like Lars where I was like, oh, this is kind of an outlier. No, this is what he is for the Cardinals. So, Jonathan, do you have anything else to say about Jordan Walker?
Oh, man, I got too much to say about Jordan Walker. We talk about WRC plus of 66. That is so, like, we just talked about Vic being a cardboard cutout. What is 66? What is that even? I don't even know what to equate.
It's like literally the worst hitter in Major League Baseball.
Yes.
Is what it is.
He was one of the worst players in all of Major League Baseball in all facets of the game.
Yes.
The only things he has going for him is his max EV was 117.9. Okay, that's Shohei Ohtani, right? And his hard hit rate was 50%. That's incredible stuff. But he is so bad. He has zero plate discipline. I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen a major league hitter have less plate discipline than him. Truly. And all my years watching this, I had to look at his run value against sliders. When pitchers threw him sliders, it was a minus 6.2. Zero is average. Minus 6.2. That's top 20 in all of Major League Baseball.
Bad.
Minus 6.2. Horrible. The top 20 bad board. You don't want to be on this. Right. Defense.
It's not Mel Kiper's big board.
Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want to be on that.
Yeah.
Nothing spectacular in right field. I will say this for him. He has made very large leaps and bounds out there because he looked as bad as 66 WRC plus in the outfield defensively a few years ago. He looks better, but he's still nothing to write home about, right? It's not like, oh my gosh, this is Tatis who moved from shortstop to right field and he's really good. Here's what I think about this. He's too young to totally let go of, Andy. Like totally let go.
Uh,
I'm gonna keep stepping on this right here. He needs to be in AAA. I don't care about his feelings. I don't care about his confidence. Heim and team have been saying he needs to change his approach, right? Everybody's been saying that. If you change your approach in the offseason, you go to Driveline, you go to Peru and walk up the mountains and try to find somebody, or Nepal, not Peru.
Train with the
Peru, why not
monks,
Peru?
with
Yeah.
Win
From
Myama
monks,
getting
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you need to do all that. You are not going to come back to a Major League Baseball team and try to enact a new swing at the Major League level. Let me tell you why. In AAA, he was in AAA for 135 plate appearances in 2023. He posted an 89 WRC plus. Okay. 2024, 377 plate appearances, a 94 WRC plus. He has never proven that he can do what he's doing in AAA, let alone the major leagues. I know the outlier is 2023 in the major leagues. He was pretty good. He was not bad, right? We thought, oh my gosh, if this guy just, incrementally steps up, he's a star. He just can't do it with his current approach, and I do not think it is reasonably feasible for him to come in to the season after changing everything and then just come right in and start to be successful. I mean, I know we're not talking about Nathan Church. Nathan Church in 242 plate appearances in 2025 in AAA posted a 143 WRC plus. Now he came up to the major leagues
And did
and
squat.
did absolutely nothing. So that's all I'm trying to say is none of this is concrete. You cannot forecast what these guys will do and not do.
Right.
I just think learn your new approach. Go down to AAA. There's no eyes on you other than the diehards and the people who show up to these games, right? And mash the ball with this new approach. Come up to the major leagues when you feel like you're ready and you've proved it. Run 120 WRC plus down there. Kill the ball in AAA, right? Then come up and then do it. I just don't know that I can watch him flail for another year at the plate and just watch him struggle at the major league level. So just to be clear, I don't want to get rid of him. I think he has value. Still, he's 23. That's so young. It's so young. But I just can't see him on the major league roster again doing this. Prove it to me in AAA. Build the confidence. Come back up. Do it at the major league level.
All right, I'm going to give you guys 5 bullet points. Ready?
I'm ready.
Bullet point number 1. We have royally screwed this guy's career up.
Yep.
This is one of the last really, really, really bad John Mozeliak jobs that we're going to be saddled with. Number 2, he hits the ball extremely hard, but has no slug whatsoever. One of the lowest slugging percentages in Major League Baseball because, again, we're hitting worm burners on the ground. I've hit a number of those off the tee box in golf. This guy does it at the Major League Baseball level. Number 3, he can't run the bases. Number 4, he can't field. Number 5, I don't believe in him anymore in his ability to make adjustments, in his ability to take coaching, in his ability to follow approach consistently. And which leads me all to say, yes, he's got to be on the team. Yes, he has to play every day at the Major League Baseball in 2026. Yes, we have to, because the talent underneath there is too big. You have got to give this one more season. Again, we ain't going anywhere next season. And so either he's going to figure it out and we're going to look like geniuses, or he is not going to figure it out. We're going to get extra lottery balls and he's going to be gone. 2026 is it for Jordan Walker, and then I'm never going to talk about him again if he fails.
Really rope-a-doped me on that one.
That's where my stance is. And that was, I literally believe in him less than anybody on the roster. But that ability to hit the ball so hard, it's just there. And I
can't teach it.
I think we just need to see it one more year.
Andy, what do you think? What do you think? Would you start him?
Laying out the two things. No, I would not. I would start. Here we go. Spoilers. I like Jonathan's approach better because the right fielder and for 2026 will be Alec Burleson. Burley is so. Let's just skip over Jordan Walker because I don't like talk. I want to get out of there. Burley, okay. So he was not great defensively. Okay, that's first and foremost. But it's not your hands team. Okay, he had a negative 12.4 defensive WAR, but he was also kind of like this utility. Played the little ticker that like tells you his positions on Fangraphs was crazy to look at. He is a utility man silver slugger candidate with Brendan Donovan. Okay, so that's a
He
highlight.
should win that.
He ought.
right
I was
away.
going to say he ought to win that.
WRC plus of 124, 2.1 WAR, -1 base running value, but a 15 offensive WAR. Okay, digging into all those positions that our utility man played, he is according to the data from last year, he is the least hurtful in right field. He produced the least amount of negative defensive runs saved. So at first base, he was like -3. Basically everywhere that he played, he was -2 or -3 except for right field. So I think you just stick him in right field and let the man mash at the plate. You could make an argument for first base. Maybe he didn't get enough reps there. I could hear that, but buy Jordan Walker, go to the AAA. That's nicer than what I would do. I'd peace out and say, "Yep, sorry, you stunk with us." I'm gonna stick Alec in the right field spot. That's what I'm doing with him. Yes, he's worth a roster spot. Is he is he on the next great Cardinals baseball team? Let's talk about that for a second. Jonathan,
Yeah.
is he on the next great one?
I think he can be, yeah. I just wanted to play first base really bad. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, Andy. Here, because you said you could be convinced into this.
Yes.
He was a negative WAR player at first base, but that is his natural position. If Wilson Contreras can post right at average at first base or a little bit above, I believe Alec Burleson can too, because that's where he played in college. And I think to take that further, I think he'd be a 4 WAR player if he played first base. I think he could be an all-star first baseman. I truly believe that. Because the sneaky thing is, we sit here and we're like, well, he doesn't really hit a lot of home runs. Isn't that the knock on him? He's kind of like, he's an average contact guy. He ran a 459 slug. That's, I mean, you want 500. That's really pretty good for what he did.
Again, listeners, go back to what
Yeah.
the DH MLB average was. The designated hitters was a 422 slug. So he was over
Yeah.
the average MLB designated hitter.
So that's my selfish, ploy here is I want him to play first base. And that's how I have my roster set for the next year is that Willie's gone and he plays first base. Although you can hide an average or bad defender in the outfield if you have one
Victor
of them.
Scott the second and
Yeah,
center field?
because you can have Vic shade to one direction or not. Newt. If the outfield is Newt, he's a fine defender. Vic runs all over the place, and Burley. That's honestly not a horrible defensive outfield because Burley in right field is not awful. I just think he'd be better served at first base. If you look at that negative defensive WAR, it can't be that bad at first base, and he can hit. He has proven over and over again that he can hit. So I want to keep him. I just want to put him at first base. At least let's just see a season of it. Can he post a positive OAA? Can he post a positive defensive WAR at first?
No. Jonathan, no, sorry, Matt, is Alec Burleson on the next great Cardinals team?
I don't know because I don't know when that is going to happen. Burleson's 27. He's reached his arbitration years. So when people talk about the young guys, Burleson for me is not in that group.
No, right.
This is the prime of his MLB career right here. He's having it. And my hot take on Burley is I think he's pretty good. And that to me shows how far away this franchise is from being good. Because if Burley is your second best hitter, your offense is in a pack of trouble. If Burley is your fourth best hitter, then I think you're cooking, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
to me right now, maybe Willie is the second best hitter behind Herrera. But if Burley stacks up next year to be our second best hitter, we are not going to win very many games because he's a good hitter. He's not a great hitter. 124 is nice, but we're talking about him like he needs to be, a mainstay of this franchise. And I don't think that's who he is. I agree with Jonathan. I do think he needs to play first base. I think his best position is DH.
Yeah.
But we've got a guy that's a better hitter at that spot. So Burley's getting older. He's getting more expensive. However, he is a piece that absolutely can hit. Now, he can't rake, but he can hit. So unless he takes another step forward, which might be possible, I didn't do a super deep dive on his offense like I did on some of the other guys. Well, missing that elite power, I do think is an issue for him. But should he be on the team next year? Yes. Is he on the next great Cardinals team? If we get really good in 3 years, then I think he is. If it's longer than that, I don't think he is.
Yeah,
I did this last time, and I didn't do it as much here because I don't think there's as much trade value. I did that in the infield because I think there's several guys you could trade.
I agree.
This is the one guy I think you could. There's going to be value here.
Yes.
I think you could. Like if he's batting seventh for the Dodgers, I keep saying the Dodgers. They don't know what's playing. They'd love him, right? He's
a professional MLB hitter. Professional hitter. Yes.
So if we are going to truly like wave the white flag and try to stock the farm with stuff, Burley is somebody you're calling about.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I do really believe that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, not an argument for me. He is. I'm glad we sandwiched the best hitter with the second best hitter in the Cardinals because there's a whole lot of hands teams in the middle from this past year, and that's what I got out of this exercise of doing this. Is boy, no wonder the offense was so bad. Is because we have
it's this group right here.
Yep.
Yep.
And it has
and Arenado.
Yeah,
it has for years. We have never had a strong outfield offensive presence. We really haven't, like throughout all the
Larry
years
Walker.
I've been watching.
Edmonds, Holiday. You have to go way back.
That's what I'm saying. Like after
Beltran.
that,
Yeah.
there's not much,
No.
Maybe Jason Hayward was our last like excellent one off the top of my head, which is crazy because that was forever ago. I mean, Tyler O'Neill was good one year. He was really good.
He was.
Other than that, like homegrown guys we've brought up, I can't really name you one. No.
I also didn't mean to be down on Burley there. I think 124 WRC plus.
That's
that
great.
is
It's great.
a really good MLB.
Yeah, I got your vibe.
Yeah,
I
I
just
got
wanted
you.
to try to be clear-eyed about it. He's not like a star, and we're gonna need a couple more in addition to Herrera and maybe Wynn. Like we're just gonna need more,
Yeah.
and they are hard to grow.
Can I ask you guys a question? I was thinking about this.
No.
We're gonna have to. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. No. we're gonna have to pay somebody, right? I
Yeah.
don't think we're gonna roll out like the Miami Marlins payroll. Which spoiler, they won one more game than we did last year, and they have like $35 on their roster. Okay. If you trade Willie and his salary is gone, and Burley plays first, and you let go of Michaelis, and you got some money to spend, would you rather spend that money on like a decent starting pitcher and try to like make a run for the wild card and let Burley stay there at first, or would you rather keep what we have and just try to truly tank? Would you rather try to get that money and try to get a pitcher, I guess is really what I'm asking.
I think I would pour it into the pitching for sure, because I'm not sure our pitching is in any way or shape or form ready. These position player guys, I really just think we have to kind of get through it and see who's going to stick out of this pack and who's not going to. So I would either save the money for a rainy day down the road or do it in pitching. Is that you, Andy, or do you want something else?
No, I would agree. I mean, look at what, other than the Blue Jays, and they have good starting pitching. Pitching is the sauce to a playoff push. It is, period. I think that's always been the case, and the format that MLB is played in will always be the case in the playoffs. Like, you get 1-2 guys that go on a crazy hot streak, but if you have the pitching to match, like the stalwart defense of that pitching staff, you can't really lose. That's the sauce. And
I mean,
MLB.
Look at the Phillies. They won 90-something games. They have Turner, they have Harper, and they have Schwarber, and they lost to the Dodgers in the playoffs. Didn't matter. That offense won them regular season games, but their pitching kind of faltered in the playoffs. Go ahead, Matt. You were going to say something?
Since we've done this performance review of the entire position player side of the roster at this point, let me ask you guys this question. How many above average hitters do we have on the 2026 Cardinals? Now, this is going to depend on who stays and who goes. Here's my count. Herrera, Burleson. If Donovan stays, he is. I think J.J. Weatherholt is immediately. And then Contreras, if he stays, right? And then it's a complete and total mixed bag after that. And I don't know that I think Donnie and Burley and Contreras and Newt, I don't know if they're all going to be back either. So it might be really ugly next year.
But if we reinvest that money into just league average pitching, you never know. If we could just have some league average guys out there, I mean, it cannot be overstated how terrible Jordan Walker was and how much he drug us down.
True.
And Andre Palante, which I can't wait to get to that one next week about Mr. Picante here. But I just wonder, if you reinvest that money, like you're saying, into some pitching, do we sneak into the playoffs? Not that I don't really know that I care about that, but it might be an interesting, season to watch if we feel like we can post 6 innings every time and it's decent.
Right. Yeah, no, I wouldn't add anybody else to that list. And you're right. It could be. I had the pleasant experience this past. Just basically, I'm recovering from the stomach bug. It was going around, and I have never had this in my 36 years on Earth. I on Tuesday did one of Tony Horton put out a new Power of 4, and I did a ab routine that completely destroyed my life. And then I had to throw up with a completely destroyed ab section.
Oh.
That was the worst experience of my life. And I don't want to watch that from the Cardinals offense. I can't begin to don't ever have that happen to you, because
maybe that was Jordan
horrible.
Walker, 66 WRC plus, was an ab workout throwing up.
Yes, I think that is the level. It was awful. So don't do that, gentlemen. I don't want to experience that. Yes, thank you for the walker. Yes, that's what it was like. Well, you guys, thanks for tuning in to the Redbird Rundown. Your go-to source for all those things, St. Louis Cardinals. Be sure to subscribe and review the show. It really helps us grow. Follow us on Twitter, Blue Sky, Facebook, and YouTube for the latest updates. Keep those rally caps on, and let's go Cards.
I'm sorry, Pozo.